Hey guys, this is going to be a super important episode.
What about dinner?
Kronk, this is kind of important.
How about dessert?
For example, in 1 Nephi 4, Zoram discovers that his master Laban is actually a disguised Nephi.
Run.
If Joseph was a fraud, did he just get lucky? Or did this uneducated farm boy have outside help? If so, who?
Who?
And how?
How?
Ush. All we can say for sure is that it is not matter or the energy that is from matter.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
This certainly provides evidence that the name Alma was used as a male name and not exclusively female, as it was earlier assumed.
Turn down for what?
Latter-day Saints believe in eternal marriage.
Death cannot stop true love. All it can do is delay it for a while.
Who presides over the first presidency?
Jesus.
Jesus, yeah, Jesus. It's tricky like that, Jesus.
You were saying?
I'm telling you, these people are Satanists. As I sit here, they are Satanists. Look, the world is full of these kind of things. The incubus, the succubus, I'm telling you.
The Abrahamic covenant is the glue that binds the gospel story together.
It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
No, unfortunately, we're not talking about the Backstreet Boys, but I do want it that way. These are the people who have a perfect knowledge of Christ and consciously choose to reject Christ anyway.
That's the evilest thing I can imagine!
We've never been able to learn that any of the family were ever noted for much else than ignorance and stupidity.
That's harsh.
We believe that the final judgment will not happen until the end of the Millennium.
Oh, well, that's really...
The next organizational unit called a stake.
Steak?
This is not a food reference. Like, you know, that whole Mormon extermination order thing. Thanks for that, Governor Boggs. We often say that God communicates or talks to his prophets. But what does that mean? Do they sit down and have Sunday brunch together?
Having fun?
Did you ever kill anyone?
We're getting off the subject.
Interestingly, in 1827, Rosh Hashanah fell on September 22nd.
Is that when it's going to happen? September 22nd, midday?
In the Latter-day Saint belief system, this association between Christ and Lucifer isn't much more than a footnote. But to a lot of Christians, it's a huge deal.
Apparently, it's a big deal. People are calling it the crime of the century and stuff like that.
While Joseph was out of town, there was a riot in the temple. A riot in the temple!
I repeat things for emphasis. Emphasis!
We're calling in some help from the late apostle Elder Richard G. Scott. Live the gospel, keep the commandments. Having a resurrected body is a sweet deal, and you don't want to be stuck in the spirit world for an extra 1,000 years waiting to be resurrected while everybody else is having a good time with Jesus. Some wonder if this doctrine of theosis implies that we want to replace God, and the answer to that is
No!
having your face in a dark hat sure would make it difficult to read from any kind of notes or pre-written manuscript.
Your support is well seen.
So at the beginning of every Book of Mormon is the testimony of the 3 witnesses who claimed that an angel came down from heaven and he brought and laid before our eyes that we beheld and saw the plates and the engravings thereon.
People don't talk that way anymore.
Previously, Joseph had been commanded not to show the ancient Book of Mormon record to anyone.
Not even Squidward's house.
There sure are a lot of ellipses in there. Well, let's take a look at what text has been omitted from these examples to see just how similar they actually are.
That is one big pile of shit.
To me, the evidence indicates that Joseph knew winning was unlikely, but he was certainly going to shoot a shot.
I am not throwing away my shirt.
They thought it was all a lie. They believed in the tradition of Laman and Lemuel.
Pig-headedness?
I was going to say evil or something.
But if someone tells you that Latter-day Saints just want you to do whatever your feelings dictate, That's wrong. It's more than a feeling.
There's just so many options.
That one's good. Looks like a medieval warrior.
Today's episode is about
Marriage.
Man, I love that movie.
Marriage is what brings us together today.
Did Martin actually see the plates, or was he crazy? Were all the other corroborating witnesses crazy too, or were they lying? Or can we shrug it all off as a product of mass hallucination or hypnosis, as some renowned critics believe?
And they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing!
Saints nonetheless brought their situation before Missouri Governor Daniel Dunklin, who told them to take it up with local authorities. If that didn't work, then the state would get involved.
Yeah. Like that's ever gonna happen.
The Christian church subsequently breaks in two.
Let's split up. Do we have to?
It is without exaggeration the meanest book in the English language.
Oh, now.
It has not one good sentence in it.
Ouch.
It is as certainly Smith's fabrication as Satan is the father of lies.
That's it. He's going down.
But what exactly is a spirit? What else do we know about spirit in general?
You boys know all about spirits. All that time you're spending down at Phelps Tavern.
Jesus said unto them,
Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am.
Anyone who rejects the Book of Mormon
without honestly attempting to account for the origin of those pages somehow
has been deceived, and if he or she leaves this church, it must be done
by crawling over, under, or around the Book of Mormon to make their exit.
In order to most effectively understand and use the Bible, we need to know what it was intended to do and how it is meant to be used.
It's the Bible, you get credit for trying.
Most scholars believe the Urim and Thummim to be two sticks or stones, perhaps precious stones, that God used in a miraculous way to reveal his will, which certainly sounds like divination.
It's not like it sounds.
It's exactly how it sounds.
Earlier in this very chapter, we read that God is love. A few chapters back, we read that God is light. Is God literally love? Is he literally made of photons?
It's an idiom. You, sir, as an idiom.
There's no way Joseph is making this stuff up, and if he is, part of me is just like...
I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
That one was brown. We even have a picture of that one, but as you can see, it just looks like a rock.
But it's a rock.
I know it's a rock!
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it.
Their subsequent 1784 report basically said, yeah, this isn't really a thing, which understandably hurt Mesmer's reputation quite a bit. Fasting is not meant to be an occasion for you to take a hungry-faced selfie for Instagram. Neil has a ton of other music that you just don't hear as often, like that classic tune, You're So Sweet, Horseflies Keep Hanging Round Your Face. This metaphor is getting weird.
Horseflies keep hanging round your face.
Bless this, O Lord.
Probably because it's not the hill Cumorah.
I'm gonna ask you this one time. Where is Gomorrah?
So the hill Cumorah mentioned in the Book of Mormon is literally the place where Mormon says the golden plates are not buried.
Anything yet?
Nothing but rocks and dirt, sir.
Meryl, I don't think we covered this one in basic training!
The English article A doesn't exist in the original Greek, so both versions are acceptable translations.
A.
I'm reduced to asking for help from my friends on the other side.
Statistically, Latter-day Saints that follow this commandment live about 8 to 11 years longer than the general population.
It's Judgment Day.
In 1832, Joseph himself wrote that he and his siblings were deprived of the benefit of an education. Suffice it to say, I was merely instructed in reading, writing, and the ground rules of arithmetic, which constitute, come on, Joseph, my whole literary acquirements.
Here, educate yourself!
I can go dunk myself in water 1,000 times and I won't be any closer to earning my way into heaven.
That's enough!
That's enough!
A doubt bomb is when someone just unloads a massive amount of negative information on you, hoping that something will stick, or that the sheer quantity of arguments will be enough to knock down your house of faith, conveniently making room for them to construct something new, more in accordance with their worldview.
Hey look, I made a bridge. It only took me like, what, 10 seconds?
Okay, so did anything in that story sound familiar?
Doesn't this seem familiar?
I don't know. Why?
We have the story of Enoch peering into the stone and reading scripture from it.
I don't know, doesn't it just kind of ring a bell?
Yes!
How about no?
Constantinople's walls proved no match for the advanced Turkish artillery. The city fell to the Islamic army, and the Turks hold it to this day.
Why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks.
Russell M. Nelson is pretty charismatic for a 96-year-old. Discussions surrounding the merits of the letter can unfortunately get quite heated quite quickly. So what do we do about all these people who died never even having heard the name Jesus before? Well, the scriptures and modern revelation reveal a beautiful solution.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
How children think about themselves is often determined by the labels you put on them. That's a beautiful bow. You shook it with your hand.
Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law!
Run.
There are a lot of people to teach and do ordinance work for.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and...
It's very clearly a satirical comedy.
It's only a model.
If you don't catch on to that, though, this movie is going to leave you with some significant questions about history and a potentially debilitating fear of rabbits. There's a lot we could discuss about the facsimiles, but let's just jump right into the controversy, because why not?
Bring it on.
Unfortunately, a good portion of the original papyri was destroyed in the Great Chicago Fire of 1871.
And that also is very convenient.
Sir, I find it decidedly inconvenient.
You don't have to take my word or anyone's word for it. Just come hang out with us for a while and decide for yourself. If you dare.